being an actor is an art, mainly because it involves bringing, more often than not, a fictional character to life on the big screen. And while there are countless picks for a list or topic like this, I would still want to go over two people in particular, from this generation at least, that I think really gave it their all, and to the point of death even. So it gets a little disturbing and heavy, I warn you, but this is a very important video to make. So here are some actors that killed their fictional character performances. Part 1. The first handful of Diary of a Wimpy Kid books were really good and entertaining and really funny. I remember distinctly my older sister reading me the original Diary of a Wimpy Kid book and Rowley's signature catchphrase, "Zooey Mama," making us crack up because I guess that's what we found funny back when the book came out. So, it made sense why they would make a movie based off a franchise like this because of its immense popularity, and it only seemed to be getting bigger when the original came out. And when you think about Roderick just as a character, what comes to mind? He's the older brother caricature. He's 30. He's a, stereotypical teenager. He's rebellious. He's very wholesome and understanding. He's a bunch of things. So, trying to find an actor that can not only portray all these things, but in the typical Roderick fashion, is something that would seem downright impossible. But Devin Boswick did it. A lot of scenes show this as well. We get the heartfelt, emotional scenes where he talks to Greg and show his brotherly, not even just brotherly side. I never even, to my knowledge, nah, in all seriousness, I don't have a brother, so, but even I found his nature in general relatable because he just has that sibling, kind of bond, because it doesn't matter whether you're brother or sister, it's just a bond, something we all, siblings have in general, and he portrays that very well as his rebellious and energetic side, to the point that I may have thought that something was wrong with him as a kid. But no disrespect, that just goes to show how well he pulls off the act, literally. And it's always nice, especially nowadays, to see an actor have fun with his role. The Diary of a Wimpy Kid series is a series of books that are very popular and still going, surprisingly. But before it was dry and, ran out of ideas, they even made a full-fledged live action out of all things movies. And this is before the bland, soulless, Disney versions that actually were animated of the series came out. Because originally, I myself remember seeing the trailers for Roderick Rules back in 2011 and being so surprised because I'm like, for one, movie based off Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but I was under the impression at the time that Diary of a Wimpy Kid is a picture book because it does feature animations. In fact, the animations themselves even cameo in the movies. However, it wasn't until recently when I found out that actually wasn't true. So, yeah, it is really impressive that we went from stick figures to full-fledged humans, and they were portrayed by actors that did a really good job, especially because you have to really think how little they had to work with. And even though there was nothing to compare it to, which is what would ultimately lead to its downfall, it's still really impressive how they made so much with a whole crew of actors that, to be completely honest, don't look like they would be able to carry or even portray their heavenly family, even remotely. But they did a really, really great job, and if you ask anybody, most people will say, probably forever, it was Devin Boswick with his performance of Roderick Heffley. Batman The Dark Knight isn't just one of the best Batman movies ever made. It's one of the best films ever made, and you can ask all the negative critics and even they agree, so it means a lot. And part of the reason for that is the choice of actors. Christian Bale as Batman, of course, killed it, as we all know. He's Batman, the main character. But one of the selling points in any movie, the villain. And casting choice for the so-called villain was fucking excellent in any fucking timeline. And I'm pretty sure you can ask anyone that, and they would say the same thing, because as we all know, the late Heath Ledger portrayed this pretty much new version of Joker that we would see even in some later incarnations, with the long, messy, scruffy hair and the creepy, realistic, cut smile. But beyond his physical appearance, it was his acting that really set the deal. And it's said that no joke, Heath Ledger himself locked himself in his hotel room for like at least a month so he can better get into the role. I gotta say, not get a little too into it for my comfort, but you know, this going to extreme lengths to get a role or fit a role is actually something very common. I mean, even Christian Bale had to lose like a disturbing amount of weight to play like a certain role out of a movie I didn't even know. But this is about Batman The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger really deserves a spot in any list like this. Not just because his death, but because we don't even really know the circumstances. This is just my, experience with it, alright? So don't freak out, disclaimer, right? My sister's ex actually told me, like, this is what he said, right? Quote with that. Heath Ledger died because he became the Joker in real life. And, just hearing that, and I bet even him just saying that felt like fucking insane. And, when you think about it, metaphorically, I guess, could you even say that it's true? I know a lot of people, not just him, have thought about that. And of course, we don't know for sure, but it is something to think about. He was that, dedicated to it. It's nothing but admirable. But I guess sometimes it can literally cost a person their life. There truly won't ever be an actor like him, though. So rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Dude, I don't want to fucking